You're listening to TC Talks on TNT.
Welcome back to TC Talks. I'm your host, TC, and we got a great episode for you today. We're going to be talking about Justin Fields and some comments that a former Chicago Bears coordinator made in regards to Justin Fields and his play, as well as the current coaching staff. What are they doing that he was unable to do for so long? We're going to dive into all that. But first, I want to remind you to please go ahead and subscribe down below. We're going to be doing a giveaway at 25 subscribers. So that's only 5 more people. So you better hop on that train really fast because you do not want to be left behind. Free prizes just for subscribing. And hey, once that giveaway is done, you could go ahead and unsubscribe, do whatever you want. But I would encourage you to stay because we're going to be doing fun stuff like that the more and more we get that feedback from you guys. So go ahead, show us that YouTube love, and we will return that love to you right here on YouTube. So without further ado, let's dive into those comments about the Chicago Bears. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about my perspective on Justin Fields as well. So as you guys know, I've been awfully critical of Justin Fields. I went into the season and with the Bears starting off doing pretty decent to wrap up the preseason, I had a lot of hopes that the Chicago Bears would be able to build on that going into this upcoming season. And unfortunately, a very slow start prevented that. They never really got that offense going. The defense actually came out looking pretty good at the start of the year and eventually kind of fell flat. And now that all the weapons are gone, it's kind of hard to get excited about it. You know, in the secondary, there's some things to get excited about. But other than that, the pass rush, the linebacker situation, not necessarily fantastic for Chicago. But other than that, they're looking pretty good now. So all the stuff in the beginning of the season really gave me a little bit of a reason to be upset with Chicago because if you look at what they're doing now, you understand that Justin Fields didn't just develop into this player over the past 3 weeks. It was always there. There was just something that needed to be done to get him to that spot. And there's a few things that have been done, starting with the coaching situation. Now, Mike Martz was actually on Parkinson Spiegel and he was talking about Justin Fields. He was talking about the coaching staff as well. So we're going to go ahead and roll one of those clips right here for you.
We're going to tailor things towards you. And it took me a full year to realize that. These guys at the Bears this year, it took them a few games to realize. So they're a lot smarter than I was.
So I think the biggest takeaway from that segment is him admitting that a coaching decision to be able to play to a player or executing to a player's strength isn't something that a lot of coaches just naturally do. They want these players to be able to develop into their system because it's what them as a coach. No, but the rookie quarterback, the younger quarterback, maybe the veteran quarterback who already has a set mindset as to how they play the game that is limited by how much they understand the game because they're young, doesn't always have the ability to adapt to that. And you see what Mike Martz said right there is, Jay Cutler wanted to do things his way, and it took him a full season to find that out. And then he says the Bears have done it within a few weeks in the first season. And that's something that should be admired and respected, and something that us as Chicago Bears fans need to recognize that we have a good head coach on our hands. If he is able to turn things around this quick, if he's able to accept, defeat in a way where in the sense that he's not going to be able to run things exactly as he planned. He's going to have things schemed to Justin Fields and the weak offensive line and adapt to that throughout the game. I think Luke Getsy doing a great job doing the same thing from the offensive coordinator position as well. So great things going from that coaching staff and them being willing to bite that bullet and accept that this offense might not be the offense that's carried on, next year and the year after that. But when Fields gets more established, when he gets more comfortable, and I think you're really seeing that right now, Justin Fields getting a lot more comfortable based off of the play calling. I think it really does show that he's progressed. I think it shows that this organization really is behind Fields, because that was the narrative that even I bought into in the beginning, that it seemed like the organization didn't really want to move forward, or at least this current coaching staff didn't want to move forward with Fields under center. But these past few games for Fields really kind of says the opposite. The Bears have scored a franchise record 29 points over the past 3 games, and they're looking to do it again against the Detroit Lions. And if Justin Fields is able to keep this up, I have no doubt in my mind they're going to be able to extend that record. And that's just what Justin Fields brings to the table. So I think the biggest thing for us as Bears fans to take away, and it's straight from another offensive coordinator's mouth, is it's not a quick transition to be able to just say, okay, we're going to do things the way Justin wants to, because maybe the way Justin wants to do things isn't going to be able to work in the NFL, and we try to do things his way and they automatically fail. However, it's the offensive minds of Getsy, and it's also the head coaching of Matt Eberflus that allows Justin Fields to be able to go out there and have an efficient strategy that plays to his strengths, but also doesn't keep the offense too simple that other teams are able to pick on them defensively. So it is a great way for us to recognize, and myself included, because I am rather new to being out here giving my opinions on these sort of things, and I completely will admit I jumped the gun, at least on this coaching staff as of right now, for their dedication to Justin Fields and their willingness to scheme accordingly to him. Which brings me to my next point within this whole offensive situation is, in the beginning of those first 6 games, the first 5 or 6 weeks, I think when you look at the way the Bears were playing football, it really does seem now in hindsight that they were really just trying to throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what stuck, because you don't see any of those same weird mistakes or those awkward play calls that we saw way too often in the beginning of the season. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, where it seems Chicago would almost let up off the gas even when they were ahead, because the Chicago Bears, outside of the Cowboys game, that was the only game where the Chicago Bears never had a lead in their matchup this season. So Chicago has had opportunity to win games, but it's always taken its foot off the gas, and the play calling has been one of the biggest issues with that, at least in the beginning of the season. Now, even in this last game against the Dolphins, you see the Bears being consistently aggressive, consistently making good play calling, keeping it simple for Justin Fields, and getting him out of the pocket on the regular. That's the biggest thing. Is it seemed like Justin Fields needed to stay in the pocket, and that's what they really wanted him to be able to do. And of course, you want your quarterback to be able to throw from within the pocket, but if he's unable to do so, either because he takes too long looking downfield, or he's got a really bad offensive line, or even worse, a combination of the two, then you got to be able to adapt and make sure he's in a position to succeed. And the Chicago Bears have been doing that for Justin Fields. But Mike Martz didn't stop just at the Chicago coaching situation. He also had to give praise to Justin Fields, and you would not believe the quarterback that he compares him to. This is Mike Martz again on Parkins and Siegel on 670 The Score.
He's Josh Allen with more elusiveness. You know what I mean? And better speed, by the way.
Wow. There he is gonna try to compare Justin Fields to Josh Allen. That is freaking insane. And to be fair, I have to agree to a certain extent, especially over these past 3 games. Now, I know it's easy for quarterbacks that don't turn into franchise quarterbacks to have good runs. We've seen Baker Mayfield, who everybody likes to joke about and make fun of, have a tremendous season, getting the Browns into the playoffs, getting a playoff win, doing all that fantastic stuff. And yet he still comes up short to this day. Looks like a mess in Carolina. And that is a fact of reality that could be the future of Justin Fields. I hope to God that it's not. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to knock on wood, Chicago, just to show you that I'm really in it for the long haul. And if you really don't believe I knocked on wood right there, I'll just go ahead and do it again. I didn't want it to interfere with what we're doing, but I want you to know that I really am dedicated to Justin Fields being the quarterback for Chicago because that's where the heart of my anger came from the beginning of this season. I saw Justin Fields growing and growing, the potential that he had last year, the flashes that he showed in games last year, specifically against Pittsburgh, among other games as well. But Pittsburgh specifically was like the game where he kind of started to establish himself as what he could do for the Chicago Bears team. And I was personally hoping with all the offseason that he was going to be able to go through with the way they looked at the end of the regular season, like I said earlier, and just how well he performed in the first game of the season based off of how bad the situation was. He didn't make a lot of mistakes. He kept the ball clean and he took advantage of what the defense was giving him. He wasn't trying to do too much. He was making smart decisions. And I thought, hey, that's all stuff to build on for these next few games. There's a lot of good stuff to see early on, and that's not what happened. However, now that the Bears coaching staff has kind of settled things down, has played up Justin Fields' strengths, now we're starting to see him be able to make better decisions, be able to find that confidence within himself to recognize that he could do what he wants. And I think the biggest thing that starts with that is Justin Fields accepting that he could run the ball. I feel like way too often he did not want to get out there in space and didn't want to use his legs and he wanted to try to become a pocket passer. And like I said, perhaps that's what the Bears wanted him to do. It's really what it seems like they wanted him to do is be able to pass from within the pocket, which like I said, I completely understand. However, with a bad line, all that jazz going on for Justin Fields, you need to recognize that he's going to have to be able to use those legs. And now that he's been willing to use those legs, you don't see him dancing around in the backfield, or should I say spinning around in the backfield, because you already know TC hated that stupid spin move that Justin Fields would do on the regular to try to stay in the pocket and evade the rush at the same time. But this what Justin Fields is doing right now looks absolutely phenomenal. Specifically that 61-yard run. Okay, that is a highlight for a while. That is something that you're going to want to show young quarterbacks in terms of like, when you're scrambling, how to use pump faking to be able to help yourself create space to pick up extra yardage, to be able to get that first down, all that stuff. The way that he's able to freeze multiple defenders with a pump fake to be able to split them and be able to pick up all those yards. And then Darnell Mooney coming in the clutch to be able to help clear the path to the end zone for Fields is just phenomenal. So, all of that, Justin Fields being able to be like, okay, I'm not going to be able to pass this ball. I'm going to have to run, but that's okay because I could do it. And that's exactly what you want to see from this young guy because if he's not going to be able to get it done with his arm, go ahead and do it with your legs. There's no reason not to. Look at Lamar Jackson. The guy puts up 100 yards rushing every week and then gets like 200 ish yards passing. All right. A 300-yard game in total is not bad. I know a lot of people want you to throw for like 350 yards and run for another 120 with 3 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns every week. But the fact of the matter is that's not a true reality. Justin Fields, if he could get 2 touchdowns a week, heck, if he could get 1 touchdown a week and he could get, 250 yards, 300 yards combined in every week, that is a good starting point right there. 250 is a good number for Justin Fields to try to shoot for in terms of total yards per week, just because he's still struggling a little bit through the air. He is utilizing his arm, and we see how deadly he can be, especially when teams start to sleep on him. He had an absolute dime to Mooney for that touchdown. Claypool had a terrible drop that Fields had a great pass on. So there's a bunch of upside to Justin Fields. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not trying to say that he's ever been a bad player. He just wasn't executing in the beginning of the season. And part of that is the mindset. And Justin Fields seems to finally have gotten over that. He seems to finally have that belief in himself because what kind of man runs like an absolute savage like that? He is running, he is a gazelle amongst the lions in this situation. He is just zigging and zagging and making them look foolish because he's used to Jaguars. Unfortunately, the NFL Jaguars are not so deadly, but even for Justin Fields, even if they were, I don't think they'd be able to touch him. He's just too quick for him. But in either case, Justin Fields doing a lot of things right overall, but the Bears offense just clicking overall. You see Cole Kmet stepping up. I think Chase Claypool is going to be a tremendous addition for the Chicago receiver room. I know it's a little bit crowded, but that is a good thing. And I know a lot of people are saying Claypool, oh, look, he's already got one drop. You just keep waiting. He's going to be one of those guys that gets picked on until he proves himself. And I say go ahead and do that. Justin Fields got absolutely demolished both in the press and by other teams. Everybody was giving this guy flack when he was not executing. And now look at him today. He looks absolutely phenomenal. And Chase Claypool, he already believes in himself that he should be a top 3 wide receiver, if not the best. I forget exactly what he said in that tweet, but regardless, he thinks that he has that dog in him. And I think that Matt Eberflus has the ability to unlock that dog because he's already unlocked it in Justin Fields. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you agree, go ahead and give this video a like. Remember to subscribe if you want a chance at our giveaway. This has been TC with TC Talks. Peace.